Welcome back to Axis and Allies, the anniversary edition. It is the US of A's turn, and so they have 40 purchase power. That's their starting IPCs. They're currently sitting at 38, so they got kicked down a little bit in the China region here. So let's figure out, we're going to start off with what they are going to build for units. So let's figure that out. Alright, so what the U.S. decided to build is 2 submarines, 2 transports, 2 armored units, 2 Sherman tank units, and an artillery, and that is exactly 40. So that's it. That's what they're going to be building. I think they'll be putting the subs in the Pacific and probably the transports and everything else in the Atlantic, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, it is time now for the combat moves. And believe it or not, I think the U.S. has some combat moves. Alright, it's probably going to be a relatively short episode because the U.S. can only do 1 attack right now. They're going to land in Morocco and see if they can kick Germany out of here, out of Africa. So they're going to take the infantry and the artillery here on the transport. 1, 2, and I'm moving the destroyer at the same time. The destroyer should actually move during the non-combat move, because it's not actually in combat. You can't do an offshore bombardment with the destroyer, but I'm going to move it anyway so I don't forget. Or do I have, well, nah, we're going to leave it there. You know what, because I might want to move it somewhere else. I don't know, maybe we won't. We're going to take the bomber from the eastern U.S. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to have a range of 2, and you're thinking, well, it can either, you can't fly over these places, but it can land in Gibraltar. Gibraltar is owned and operated by the UK, so it can go 1, 2, and we can land the American bomber in Gibraltar. The fighter, of course, can't reach anywhere, so that's really the only attack that's happening. So they've got 1 infantry, 1 artillery, and a bomber trying to take out the 1 unit. And here now, probably the Italians should have moved their infantry there, but you know what, then that leaves that bomber way too exposed. Alright, let's get out the dice tray and see how horribly I can roll, and we'll get to it. So, the US is in there. They have an infantry and an artillery together, so they're both hitting at 2. So that's either looking for 2s. Wow! Wow, a 1 and a 2. That's 2 hits, and the bomber hits on it. Wow, bomber hits on a 4. That's 3 hits. The Germans have been absolutely annihilated, but they do get a retaliation. They hit on a 1 or 2, and they hit on a 2. So they actually hit the U.S. back. So it was a costly landing. The U.S. is going to lose an infantry, though, and the U.S. is going to capture the Morocco. All right, that's not bad. So the U.S. basically going to go up there because that's now considered their land grab. So they're going to go up 1. They're going to go from 38, 39. Germany's dropping from 33 down to 32. All right, that's the only place that the U.S. was attacking, and now it's all strategic moves. So basically, like I said, this bomber has to go land in Gibraltar. It can't get anywhere else, so it will go land in Gibraltar. You know what? Do they have? I think we are going to take that destroyer and couple it up with the, just as an escort for the transport. And I'm not if you can see this, but this plane can actually fly 1, 2, 3, 4 and make it to England. So there's a fighter squadron. You can just barely see it moved up to England. All right, let's go to the other side of the world, over to the Pacific, because there's lots of stuff going on over there. All right, so over in the Pacific, we have, you can't quite see it. Well, let's do this first. So we got the bomber here. We're going to take the bomber, and it's going to fly 1. Yeah, we've got lots of finagling. So basically the bomber moves 1, and it's going to go to eastern U.S. is 2, eastern Canada 3, 4, 5, 6. Believe it or not, this can actually fly from here all the way to England with 6 moves. So we'll just do that. I'm putting that over in England. Double check. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it can fly to England. So that bomber's going to England. This Western U.S. fighter is going to do some. So the central U.S. infantry is going to pop over to the eastern U.S. seaboard. So we're going to do that. That takes care of all that stuff. All right, and now we have an aircraft carrier and a destroyer right down here. So let me rearrange this a little bit. Ugh. All right, so now you can see the aircraft carriers. The aircraft carrier with the fighter is going to go 1-2 to San Francisco Harbor. So is the destroyer. So now we have a destroyer aircraft carrier. This aircraft is going to fly up onto the carrier. So now we have a loaded aircraft carrier and a destroyer sitting here right off the western U.S. And they got nothing else they want to move anywhere. So now it is deploying units for the U.S. The U.S. is going to put 2 submarines down in San Francisco Harbor. You're thinking, why submarines? You know why we're doing submarines? Because the Japanese have no destroyers, believe it or not. They have aircraft. They have lots of aircraft carriers, a battleship. They've got a cruiser, lots of transports. They have no destroyers. So U.S. subs will be very effective for first strike. However, what's good about this is because the U.S. is putting down submarines, that's going to force the Japanese to build destroyers, which is going to take some of their production away from other stuff, which we don't really want them doing. So there's that. I think that's a good move. All right, now let's go over to the eastern United States and put down the rest of those troops. All right, and on the eastern U.S., we're going to be putting down the 2 armored units. We're going to be putting down the artillery and the 2 transports. And yes, now we can... oh, that's not going to work, is it? Because it's going to be artillery. Oh, I screwed that up a little bit. Okay, well, it's okay. We'll be able to take a tank and a tank artillery, or an infantry artillery, over to Africa. It should work out. The transports are just going to start going back and forth, and we're probably going to start having the American bomber bombing the German factories. I think that's what we got. 2 of them. So from Gibraltar, actually, they can go 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So basically, the U.S. now has 2 bombers in close enough to the German factories. Can bomb the Italian factories too and really slow them down. We'll see what happens. That was very quick, wasn't it? The U.S. is sitting at 39 IPC, so they'll be collecting 39 for their next turn. And I think I've got everything to go. But we do have China to do, so let's not forget about them. So that's the U.S. doing all of their stuff. They're collecting 39 IPCs. Now let's go figure out what China is doing. Alright, so I mentioned last episode how China works. And these fighter aircraft are Chinese, or they're the Flying Tigers. They're actually attached to the Chinese unit, so we can't use them as U.S. during the U.S. turn. We have to use it during the China turn, if that makes sense. So yeah, we could have had China take the fighter and try to attack something, but it would have been probably suicidal. So we basically count up the number of locations that have the little Chinese symbol here that are under China control, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You divide it by 3 and you round down. So unfortunately, China's only going to get 1 infantry unit, and all China ever has is infantry units. And you can never have more than 3 infantry units for China on any one space. So that's kind of the limitations of China. We're going to try and slow the Japanese down a little bit, so we will put 1 Chinese unit here so that they can't just go out and take over anything they want. They're going to be able to move out here, but we'll live with it. And then we also have the doorway open there, so that kind of squeezes China or Japan off a little bit. Really? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So that was the China taking their turn. China's all packed in with the U.S. turn. So there we go. I'm going to back the camera out, and we're going to wrap up our episode for today. And when we come back tomorrow, it'll be back to Germany. Short episode, I know, but like I said, I'm trying to do 1 country an episode just to keep things under control. And yeah, so we're going to be having Germany come back tomorrow. Germany looking, honestly, in a little bit of trouble. The UK's got such a transport and fleet built up, and Germany does not have a ton of Yeah, they don't have a ton of aircraft or ships that they can go out and try and sink some of the fleet, but they might have to do that. We'll see what they're going to do. I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments, subscriptions, likes. This is the anniversary edition of Axis and Allies, and we are playing it through till somebody concedes and gives up. That's what we're going to do. So basically, if Germany falls in a few turns, I mean, Japan can do whatever they want, but I just can't see, you know what I mean? So we're going to get to a point in the game where I'm going to call it and just say, okay, enough's enough. One side or the other has won. We're coming back tomorrow with Germany. Germany's going to come out fighting, I'm sure. We'll see what they're going to do. So thanks so much for watching along. Really appreciate it. It helps with my channel. And we'll see you tomorrow for continuation Axis and Allies Anniversary Edition. We're going to have Germany taking their second turn of the game. And we'll see what they can do. So thanks so much. I hope to see you tomorrow.